I'm Bill Nighy, and this is my 5 favourites for the Rake.
I feel it in my fingers. I feel it in my toes.
For me, it's books, books, books. I've read everything a man could wish to, twice.
With respect, sir, you can't just make people disappear.
Yes, I can. I'm the chief inspector.
It's very tough to be only given one, but if that's the case, I have to say Punch Drunk Love, Paul Thomas Anderson, with Adam Sandler, who delivers one of the great submerged comic performances of all time. I'd never seen Adam Sandler before I saw Punch Drunk Love, and everyone in it is marvelous, and the film itself it's a fabulous film. I admired Adam Sandler's performance so much. When I say submerged, what I mean is that he arranged for the audience to laugh every minute and a half, but never got caught doing that. So it was a beautiful, and it was also very, very moving and affecting. And I had a film coming up where I had to be kind of funny without getting caught, and I wrote his name on the opening page of my script, and then I met him during a certain amount of hullabaloo last year, and I thought on the way there, knowing I was going to meet him, don't go into that whole thing, just say hi. And within about a minute of meeting him, I said, I saw you in Punch Drunk Love and I thought it was incredible. I was so incredible that I wrote your name in the first page of my script. So I completely, blew it straight from the start. But he was charming and gracious and so kind of solicitous on my behalf. My favourite book is Parade's End by Ford Madox Ford, which is actually 4 books in one volume. It's one of the only books that I've read several times. It contains probably my favourite love story. It was Ford Madox Ford's response to The Idiot by Dostoevsky. Christopher Tietjens, who is the main protagonist of the book, is a man who, in his own words, never recovered from his education. He says that in an apologetic context, because he just behaves exactly as they suggested he should behave, as what he thought of as a gentleman. But it creates a vacuum in a cynical and corrupt world, and everyone assumes that he must be up to something, and he gets misinterpreted disastrously throughout his life, and when in fact he's the only person behaving well. William Gibson is one of my favourite writers. I like Neil Stevenson. I'm reading currently a book by M. John Harrison called Light, which is deeply scientific, way over my head, but it's also really good fun. I find a good espionage novel irresistible. I recently read A Spy Alone by Charles Beaumont, who was in the intelligence services and has written a cracker of a debut novel which really does make clear what's been going on. And it's quite shocking, but it also is entirely successful, in genre terms, with a very, and I hope that there will be A Spy Alone 2. My favorite city is Paris. I am a cliche of a certain kind of Englishman of a certain age who has a completely romantic idea of Paris. I ran away there as a boy from school in order to write the great English short story, and I didn't write a word. I used to beg on the Trocadero for a while from American tourists, and I've subsequently been there many times for work, but also I go there. When I think of a holiday, I really only think of Paris. I'm not going to be on a beach anytime soon. I like cafes as much as I like anything in the human experience, and I like bookshops and cafes. and I like reading in cafes, or rather reading outside cafes. And Paris is obviously the capital city of cafes, and everything about it. My heart actually does accelerate as I pull into the Gare du Nord. I get still properly excited in Paris. It just makes me, I don't know, I just find it thrilling. I was asked recently where I would like to die, and I said I'd like to die in a suite in Le Bristol Hotel. It's one of those things that should be simple to make, and it's very rarely do you get it really right. An arrabbiata or a puttanesca. I basically crave spice, chili, heat. I challenge myself not to say to the waiter, can it be really stupidly hot? Because even restaurants where they know that I have this kind of fetish, I still can't let them get to the kitchen door without saying, can it be really, like, well, I went to India and I don't think anyone would give me, I thought, here I am, I'm going to, but I think they worry that because you're from overseas, you're not going to be able to handle it. I can handle it, trust me. It's never ever been too hot. People say, is that hot enough? And you go, well, not really. It's like, it's a form of self-harm, I think. I did a favor for the Courtauld Gallery. I used to visit a painting there by Edouard Vuillard, and it was a small painting of a model reaching for her clothes. And I just loved the picture, and I used to visit it. And then I got friendly with someone who worked there, and then eventually they asked me if I would do a kind of internet sort of commercial for them, which I did. And and I didn't ask for payment, obviously, but as payment sort of thing, they made me a life-size, as it were, print of that painting, and a friend of mine framed it really beautifully. And and if there was a fire, I'd probably reach for that.